Hello, my name is Marcus. I'm a urologist in London, and we're speaking at the International Continence Society in Madrid, where there's a fantastic meeting and a dynamic environment of science and clinical practice. And of course, urodynamics is a huge aspect of our clinical practice. One of our worries when it comes to urodynamics is making sure that basic practices in doing urodynamics effectively are well understood by everybody participating in clinical practice. So the International Continence Society has launched this initiative to make sure the opportunity to learn this is easily available to anybody. So ics.org/learn has now got 3 modules in urodynamics which are focused on the basics, such as flow rate and post-void residual measurement, filling cystometry, and pressure flow studies. These gain you CME points. They are freely available to ICS members, and they can be purchased for a small charge if you're not a member of the ICS. But why would you not be a member of the ICS? This makes no sense. Now, in order to really understand what this CME initiative has grown from, we've got Enrico and Tufan, who have been integral to the development of these modules. Enrico and Tufan have chaired the Urodynamics Committee at the ICS and have driven this initiative through, and it's a great pleasure to have the chance to discuss this with them. So, Enrico and Tufan, good day to you both.
Good day. Thank you, Marcus.
I don't know, how do you feel that this really matters to the practitioners? Enrico, how do you feel?
First of all, I feel very happy that this initiative starts today, because it comes from a very long time ago. Probably we started to think about it with Tufan 3 or 4 years ago. It was difficult to find all the support, either from the office, either from partners of the ICS to build this program. It's not an easy one. That's my first comment. I think that the initiative may be very useful. I hope it will be useful, because we have noticed, and you, Marcus, also noticed that the quality of urodynamics around the world, even in UK, that is an advanced country for urodynamics, is not that good. So we need to improve this quality, and sometimes it's difficult for people to attend courses in presence, and so we thought that this e-learning initiative could help people to at least to start to be aware of how to perform a good urodynamics in their offices. So this is the idea, the initial idea.
Well, I love it. I mean, the complacency that sometimes applies is a risk, isn't it? These are considered to be simple tests, and therefore, oh well, just do it. Seems to be quite a common attitude.
Yeah.
I don't know, Tufan, do you feel that this has been a problem in some places?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I would like to mention first, it's really an exciting moment for me, for ICS, for the ICS Urodynamics Committee, because it was like a dream for us, you know, to establish this e-learning program. Thanks to Enrico, thanks to you, thanks to the ICS board. The first aim, or one of the main aims of the Urodynamics Committee, is actually to increase the standards of the urodynamic studies all over the world, and we have to reach everybody. So it's a real fact that Enrico has stated that the quality of the urodynamic studies are unfortunately not good or not satisfactory everywhere in the world. Even in our centers, you know, if we just have a double look on our urodynamic traces, sometimes, you know, we get surprised. Okay, how come this urodynamic study originated from my own lab? I mean, this is the real world. This is the reality. So actually the teaching modules of the ICS, which were started before in the previous urodynamic committees with Dr. Peter Rosier, then Enrico, and then me, they are now the basis of this e-learning project. And just to remind our members of these ICS teaching modules, each module includes a publication of the topic in the official ICS journal, then a TV recording of the presenter, and also the slide set. so that our members can use these slides in their, for example, Urodynamic local courses, or just for educational purposes. And this time we have, as you said, started with pressure flow study cystometry, uroflowmetry and PVR, and I hope very much in the future, because we have published almost like 15 teaching modules until now, and more are coming, so that we can continue the e-learning project on other subjects as well. So I'm very excited.
So you should be, and I can see the passion written on you. So Continence, which is published by Elsevier, has already got much of this information in its written form. And of course, Continence, the Elsevier journal, is an open access journal, so there's no charge for reading that information, and that should be a good starting point. But what about, what's the advantage of doing the Learn module? Why don't you just read the article?
If I can answer, I think that e-learning is something completely different also from watching a video. I mean, watching a video is useful but may be boring, and also you cannot check if the listener has really understood the content of the video, or maybe has got some doubts about the content. So with an e-learning we have a continuous checking of what is the understanding of the one who is listening the presentation, and also there is the possibility to gain at the end CME credits for this activity that is not possible just watching a video. So these are two advantages of the e-learning project, and I think that the way this was produced is very good. So it's very, let's say, interactive, and I think it would be enjoyed by all the people. More than a simple video, or more than reading a paper. Of course, reading a paper is important, is very important. We have to find more information. So when you look only one information, you go there and you can find it easily. But this is another instrument that may help a lot in this way. May I add a little comment again also, Marcus? We have also a problem in our academic institutions. I don't know in the UK, but for sure in Italy, I have learned that our residents perform during their activity as residents around 300 cystoscopies in mean, but they perform much less urodynamic investigations. So we have to help also the academic world to improve the quality.
Now that is extremely true. So we have regularly through our urodynamics unit a lot of residents who need to demonstrate knowledge of urodynamics to pass their exit exam and gain their accreditation, and yet their chance to get this is handicapped. So I guess that, well, what you've described, during each module you'll get some simple questions to check that you've understood throughout the module, and then the module concludes with a test, and with an 80% mark you will pass and you will get certificated in effect with a CME point, and that will be very useful for a resident's portfolio. So that works nicely, but also of course for nurses and other practitioners. So in the pressure flow, let's start with the basic investigation, the free flow rate test and the post-void residual. How is this module, what is so attractive about it, Tufan?
We think that it's the most simple urodynamic study, but believe me, you know better. Still, the performing a uroflowmetric study may have so many caveats. It's open to artifacts. And even the PVR measurement, although mathematically it's okay, everyone can calculate a 3-dimension, but when to do it, how to do it, is a big thing, and also the utilization of the data that you get from the PVR and the uroflowmetry is important. How to interpret. So Euroflowmetry is open to artifacts, and we have to know how to manage and how to avoid these artifacts. And also we have to understand how to interpret the data that we get from Euroflowmetric studies, which is no question the most commonly utilized Urodynamics study in the world, the free Euroflowmetry study. But even you can be fooled by a Euroflowmetry which is not appropriately according to the ICS standards.
So a key message really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That it may seem like a basic test,
Yeah.
but it can be done wrong.
Yeah.
And if it is done wrong, that could have big implications for the patient. So let's make sure that people do it correctly.
Exactly.
Simple steps, but makes a difference.
Exactly.
So I guess that both of you will have a similar message that for the invasive evaluation of actual urodynamic testing, there's 10 times the challenge. So what about these other two modules?
Marcus, as you know very well, the problem with urodynamics, one of the major problems with urodynamics is are the artifacts. Artifacts with urodynamics are very common and should be correctly found and interpreted. If you don't do that, I mean, you will have rubbish at the end, and probably your final diagnosis may be changed or maybe not correct because of these artifacts. So I think this is the most important aspect. Of course, also the interpretation of the traces, the quality of the traces, how to make a good trace of the urodynamics is very, very important. This is also another project done by the Urodynamics Committee together with Andrew Gemmi. And we would like also to invite people, members of the ICS, to send their traces to the committee, and the traces can be evaluated and the quality could be assessed. And this is another important project of the ICS Urodynamics Committee. But coming back to the original question, artifacts, correct traces, interpretation of the data, and at the end coming to a correct diagnosis. This is fundamental. Otherwise, urodynamics, if you put rubbish, you will obtain rubbish at the end.
It's even more dangerous than that, isn't it? Because the machine, you do your test, the machine produces a report. And it says the bladder outlet obstruction index is this, and the contractility index is this. And so a humble person that's not had the training thinks the machine is giving you the result. Whereas in fact, the machine does not actually look out for an artifact. And the key one is, of course, if there's some spike, the spike on the flow test may make the machine think that's the maximum flow rate, and will take the information from there, whereas in fact the actual patient-driven flow rate is over here. So you might get total rubbish, as you
I
say.
think that the upstream trial that you conducted have shown very clearly this problem. Again, even in an advanced country as the UK, so imagine all around the world, maybe in less experienced countries, less experienced centers, it may be a disaster. So this is I think a major point of interest of this project to bring this information all around the world.
Well, I love this. I love the initiative that's combined with this. Please send in traces. We will comment and we will observe, because this does matter. We saw in one of the sessions yesterday somebody label a trace with a diagnosis, but the trace was up there and it was clearly incorrect. And many people in the audience spotted it's incorrect. But this is being presented.
It happens also in published papers. Unfortunately, so it's
very
embarrassing.
Very
common.
So this is important. So
you touched this issue very briefly and very correctly. Many of our residents or young urologists usually find themselves first time in their lives in front of the urodynamics machine and don't know what to do and how to use it. Now this program is perfect for them. This e-learning program, I think, will help them in their introduction to urodynamics. I think their problem is solved with e-learning projects. Become a member of the ICS and just join the e-learning project, and then send the traces to us just for the double check to help you. This is confidential. Nobody knows about your name or who the patient is, who the performer is. We are just evaluating the chart's quality there and give the expert opinion of the Urodynamics committee as a feedback.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yes, I would like to say that I would like to add a small comment. As Tufan was saying, the initial experience with Urodynamics may be bad. I have this experience with my residents that at the starting point, nobody wants to go to the Urodynamics office and to take care of that. But when they start to understand how it works and the utility of Urodynamics, then they start to have some passion for that. So we hope to, let's say, to increase the passion for Urodynamics among our members initially, but also outside the ICS, because I think that we need, this is an instrument that may be used selectively, as you usually say, but when it is used, it should be used correctly and without mistakes, without artifacts.
So, 28 years ago, I was stood in front of a Urodynamics machine with no idea what to do. It took me about 10 years to learn how to. Well, if I'd had ICS learning modules, it would have taken me a much shorter time and I would have been much more confident. So, go to ics.org/learn. Join the ICS before you do so, because then they are free. Then complete the modules and get your CME, and back it up by going to Continents, published by Elsevier, where you'll get open access to the published material that comes with these modules. So, Tufan, Enrico, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you,
the
Marcus.
ICS.